Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Cardcraft. Thanks for joining me again today. Before I start, I'd like to welcome all my new subscribers. Wow, guys. I just thank you so much for supporting me. The reaction that I've had since my last video, which was the little no glue, no stitch mini journal, has been astronomical. So thank you all so much. Thank you for everyone that's been with me all the way through this, and for everybody that's just jumped on board as well. Thank you. Right, so today, without a further ado, those that have been with me for a while know that I love playing with book pages. I love books, any shape, size, etc. The old ones, I just love when I come across them. The dodgier they are, the better they are for me, because I don't feel like I'm damaging or tearing apart anything. What I also love to play with are old atlases. Big ones like this, they can be so hard to play with, but they have some wonderful colours on them, and they're great as backgrounds. So you can pick them up for $10 a dozen these days in op shops and things like that, the big old-fashioned ones. So what we're doing today is another folding tutorial using our book pages, but with the larger pages. So yes, I'm using an old atlas or old maps. You can use old dictionary pages, just any of your old coffee table books. You know, the big ones that you get and that are as cheap as chips these days. So what I want to do, I've just pulled out a page from an atlas. Well, I've actually pulled out a couple here, just where I've gutted the book, just to show you. So this is a large page, and it measures, this full one measures, let's have a look, about 15 inches by 10.5. So it's a large book, but I'm actually not using the full size. What I want to do is trim off these grey areas so that I'm just left with the map. Now, this book has the other map on the other side. It matches up here and here, but it doesn't quite match up on the other side with this section here. So I've already cut one out, and I've trimmed it around on the inside of this white line. So that's what I'm left with. Okay, so here is now my map page. So it's double-sided, great, makes no difference which way I use it. And this one's fairly neutral, both sides. So what we're going to do with it, first of all, is sit it portrait style, top to bottom, in front of us, and we're just going to fold it in half. This is another nice and easy fold one. So we're just going to fold it in half. You don't have to use a scoreboard. Most times with book pages, they're a lighter weight so that you can just fold them as is. So give that a good crease down there so that we've got this centre fold. Okay. Now what we want to do is fold this section in threes. Okay. The easiest way to do that is to sit it down. Now we've got 8 3/4 inches here. I need my pencil. Oh, I've got a pencil hole now. Let's have a look. Look, to make it easier, I'm going to go in centimetres. I want 1/3 of that. So it's going to be 7.3 centimetres. I tend to just turn over between inches and centimetres depending on which way is easier. So what I'm going to do is measure 7 and a bit, 7.3 from this side. So 1, 2, 3, about here. And I'm going to do the same down on this side. So 7.3, or 3 and a bit. So 1, 2, 3, about there. And then what I can do is I can fold this to those points that I've just made there. So I don't need to measure this one because this will be the right one when I fold him over. Okay, now I'm not concerned if it doesn't make 3 dead equal parts because I don't like measuring. I don't like doing all that. You'll soon learn that if you're new to the channel, and I will just trim and adjust as I go. It's got to be easy. It's got to be fun. It's got to be just let loose. So give that one a good crease. And then we're going to, I've just turned that round because I'm a righty, and we're going to fold this one over as well. So let's have a look and see where we're going. That's not far off. If you want it to be exact, trim a little bit off this section, and only a little bit. It's only going to need just a tiny bit. So this was our first fold. That's stopping that going all the way around. So if I trim a little bit off this, it will allow this one to fold over just a little bit further. So we only want just a fraction. Doesn't need too much. Now you can do that in a trimmer, you can do it with your scissors, you can do it with a blade and a ruler. You'll soon find that that's what I use most of the time anyway. So I'm just going to go there. Right. So folding that one again back over on itself. I'm turning it round because I need to fold that way. And now I can fold this one all the way over so that it goes to the edge. Okay, down like so. Give it a little bit of a crease. Go to your other end. If you need to sit it up, do that because it's a longer sheet. It's more awkward to fold, especially if you can't get your head directly over it and your eyesight's not that wonderful these days like mine. Right, give that a good crease as well, so that what we've got now is that. So there's a fold in the middle in the same spot, and then you've got those ones. Okay, now we're going to cut a little bit here, but it's very hard to see our fold lines. Okay, so what I tend to do, just makes them easier, is I'll just fold them and I'll run my ink like that so that when I open it out, I can now see my fold lines. So to save you looking at me inking it all, here's one I prepared earlier. Okay, another one from these maps, so you can see where I was talking before, how some of these didn't match up perfectly on the other side. I'm not worried about it, and you'll soon see why. But this one I've already inked. So I've inked all these folds, and I've inked around the edge as well. What we want to do is we want to cut. I'll turn it over that way so that you can see this is my mountain, and I'm going to cut along here, and I'm going to cut along here, leaving this section in there. Again, you can do it with your scissors, you can do it with a blade, whatever suits you, sitting that on the middle of that fold. And I'm going to take it from that section, right where those inked bits meet, and I'm going to go down here, back to these inks, so that it goes to that section. So now you can see I've got this. Okay. What I also want to do is take off each corner. Now what we're going, I'll use a smaller one, it's a bit easier. So you can see there's my mountain still. There's these mountains. So it's more or less right side up. This is the right side, the side that I want to use to see. So on that right side, on the horizontal way, the landscape way, I want to measure down 2 inches on each one. Make a mark. Do that on each corner from the top and the bottom, going down 2 inches. same with down this one. 2 inches. And again on this one, go close to the edge, Kylie. 2 inches. What we're going to do is trim them off. So I'm going from, and this is why I like to put my ink on there, because I can see where this, you can see, if I bring that further up, you can see how it's darker right where it creased. So I'm going to go from that section, and I'm going to go down to this pencil mark here. And I'm just going to take off that corner. I'm going to do the same on each corner. So here's my pencil mark, and I'm going to go right to where my ink is, or where that fold is. Find where that one was again. Right there. So that we've ended up with that. We're going to do the same on the other side. To the ink, down to the pencil mark. Down, last corner. Technically, that's it. This thing is so easy. Again, it's one of the, I love folds, I love book pages, and there's so many folds out there. Right, shuffle those across. So now what we've got right side up is all 4 corners taken out. Because I've got the rest of it inked, I'm just going to ink where I've taken those ones out, just so that it matches, and I've got that deeper edge, because I find that it then gives it a little bit of distinction when they're folded against everything. Right, so now what I'm going to do is turn it wrong side up, okay? What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to fold one that way, one that way, one that way, and one that way. So do you see what we've got now? So I've got a fold going this way on the top and a fold going this way on the top. Then we're going to fold it back up. Now you'll see it wants to sit out a little bit. What you might find you'll need to do is with these, just take a little section so that they're just slightly V'd. So if I move that out of the way, you'll see what I mean. So from that centre section, I just want to take the tiniest little bit of the ones that go in. So that one was that way. So I want to take this bottom one. Okay. Tuck that out of the way so that you can see what I'm doing. Hold it there like that. So just this tiny little section. And what it's going to do is give it a little bit more wiggle room in there. So now you can see that there's a little bit of a gap in there, and that one's still flat. So that one's going to go that way. This one goes that way. So it's this one I want to take a little bit of extra out. Does that make sense? So it's the 2 that end up being right against the rest of the paper on the back, just to give us a little bit more wiggle room. So we've got, so top piece, left down, right down, bottom piece, right down, left down, fold. Okay, now you can see with this one, a little bit sitting there, and you'll feel it curve up. So I'm going to take just the slightest little bit off that, just where it's lifted there on the actual fold. There's always ways around fixing something that's not quite right. And the end result is it'll sit better, but you won't notice anything's been changed. See how that folds so nicely now in there? We've taken all that bulk out of there, and it'll just sit back in. There's our fold. That's it. What we've created with this And I actually think I like that one as the front. Makes no difference. I can change that as I go. We're going to glue now. And what we're going to do is make a couple of extra pockets. So I'm just making sure my glue's working there. There it is. So, sitting it all back out again. Top piece. Our left flap. We're going to glue down here and down there. Okay. So we're going to make 4 pockets out of this. Come on, I saw you there. Go as close as you can to the edge. Okay, I'm just turning it around so it's easier for me to see without sticking my head right under the camera. All right. Set that there. Fold him down. Give him a push. Just so the glue takes to that, and then the right side of those ones, same thing. We're going to glue down here and down here. So that what we've made is 2 lots of pockets for each end. That'll cross over. That was a bit wonky, but that's all right. Okay, straight down there. Fold that over. Push him down. Give him a good push. Make sure he's all the way down. So that's that side. This side, remember, we want the right side first, and then that, so that they're at opposite. This one's this way, this one's this way. If you want to be the same way, by all means, go the same way. I like just that little bit of difference, but, you know, it's a personal choice. It's a bit like football teams, isn't it, as my husband always says. Right. Back up here. In essence, that is our fold. And from this, now this can be just a little thing on its own. These are great, especially when you're using atlases, maps, etc. They look great in travel journals. Great to tuck ephemera and tickets and bits and pieces from when you've been on travels in there. Good for secret journaling. Posies is what I like them for. So I'm going to fold that one over like so. So here we are like that. I like this as the front. So what I'm going to do with the front, is turn it over to the back. And I like to actually tie these down. I've got some ribbon sitting here. Sitting here. I've got some offcuts of different. Let's have a look at the front. Now this is just seam binding, just offcut bits and pieces of. So colour-wise, I might even go that gold colour. So I'll just grab that one, set these ones back aside. Now, the measurement I've got on this is, let's have a look. I don't know, they're just offcuts. So what have we got there? That's not quite 12, so about 24 inches. I will have bits left over from this. I'm just using this. What I'm doing is I'm tying it and folding it in half, giving it a push so that I've got my crease there where the halfway mark is. And what I'm going to do is adhere it down there so I can see where my halfway mark is. And I'm going to actually use double-sided tape. So I'm just going to sit that on my mat, bring that back down, sit that on my mat so that I know that it's nice and straight. It doesn't have to be in the centre, it can be anywhere you like in there. But I want it straight. I'm not a great one at just eyeballing straight, so I'm going to sit that on there. As I said, it doesn't have to be dead smack centre. to adhere that just down there like that. And then I still haven't got it straight. Close to. Right. Like that. Okay. So I want to cover that, and I love my old newspaper print, my old newspapers. So I've got I've got a pile of newspapers from 1896 or something like that. And I love these. I love the ads. I love everything that they have in them. And what I want to do is pop that in there. So I can see where this is. That one's dead on that. So if I sit that there, if I've got a wider spot, let's go over here. There we go. That one will cover that and cover that. Right, so I'm going to tear. I love the way they tear these old ones. Put that there. I go down to about there. And what I'm going to do with my ink is I'm going to a darker ink. Before I was just using brushed corduroy. I'm going to use the gathered twigs this time. Picking it up in that. And what I'm going to do is instead of inking like that, I'm picking it up on the sides just to give what I call a burnt look. So if I sit that there like that now, so you can see where there's no ink, and then you can see where it's aged it again. So I'm just going to do that along the sides of these, like so. Very gently, because it does tear remarkably easy, but then I suppose we all would if we were that age. All right. So I'm just lightly going along. Doesn't look like I'm doing much here, but when we sit it back down, you'll see the difference. So now can you see how that picks that up? So I'm going to stick that one down. Find a glue book. And I'm just going to use a glue stick. All right. So I'm just using my normal blue glue so I can see where I've got. Again, just be careful sometimes when you're using the newspaper, the old newspapers, that they don't tear while you're gluing them. Set them on a side. About there, about there. And there's my back done. So, yes, it's been done with the old maps, but you can't really see that much on it. So for my front, what I want to do is I want to make a little pocket in here. And again, I like my book page. So just bear with me. I've got all my tags and stuff sitting here. I've got a little old dictionary here that I love. It's a very tiny dictionary. It's all fallen apart and all the rest, but I love using this one. And what I like to do with it is to make 2 pockets. Okay, so what I'm going to do is work out what I want for my first pocket, which should be about that to about there, I reckon. Doesn't need much. I'm actually going to go about there. Fold that up so that it's nice and straight. And then this one's going to fold up here. Match all that up again so it's nice and straight. Right. So what I've now got is a little tuck pocket in here, and then I'm going to have a pocket up here as well. So we're going to glue this one, but this time I'm going to use my white glue again. And what I want to do is glue this bit down. If it will. Come on, it was working a minute ago, wasn't it? We all saw it was working a minute ago. Don't you hate it when glue just all of a sudden won't work? Let me find a pin. it's there. It's there. I don't have to be too solid with this one. Or too straight, I should say. So that's just holding that bit down there, because that'll give that some extra oomph anyway. Now I'm going to pop a little bit of glue in here. Down there. That one up there. And now I'm going to glue around the whole thing here. Now this is, again, an old book. Really small, old dictionary. So, again, it's fairly fragile. Just going right onto that edge piece. And with the small pocket at the front, the doubled over pocket that we've done, has double layer now. So it's going to be nice and fine and nice and firm. But this top pocket, when we pop him down, go about there. All right. So this top pocket's going to be quite vulnerable because the fabric, the paper is so old and all the rest. So what I'll tend to do with it, the other thing I like using, and most of you already know, is my manila folders. Love manila folders. So I've got a couple of pieces here of manila folders, and what I'm going to do is actually stamp on here, trim that up, and pop that as a heading across. So I want one of my words. Where are my words? Right. Something that will so I can do that and just get rid of the number, as in the actual NO. And I want pile of stamps here. All right, so I'm just going to put that on there. Get my stamping mat. And fold that the other way so that it doesn't curve as much while I'm trying to stamp on it. And I'm going to stamp that in a deeper ink, so I'm just going to use my VersaFine Clear in Pinecone. Now, I don't want the N and the O on that, so I'm just going to sit that there and tap that. I know, I always tell you all to take your ink pad to your stamp, but when I'm doing something like this, so I can see my shiny bits, that it's not on there. Bring that down so I can see what I'm doing, and then I'm going to trim it up. Like that. Just like that. So, what we're going to do with this now, I like that, 68 Market Street. That is fairly straight on there. So the full length that we want for this is going to fit beautifully, isn't it? So if I go a little bit past the T, it's going to tear that off for now. If I go a little bit past the T, sitting near there, so again, use my mat so it's nice and straight. I can always trim it down a little bit further if I need to. Right, there's my T. Keep forgetting I've moved all that. And I'm going to do the same on the first bit. Let's have a look. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm trimming the excess off with my knife. And if I need to take a little bit more, I can take that with my scissors. So let's have a look at the measurement on that now. That's pretty good. Needs just a smidge taken off that side. So if I grab my scissors, Oh, which are just here. Just drop something down there. A little bit at a time. That's pretty good. Right. And I want to take the other piece off that. This is where it gets fiddly. But I only want a small piece just to do that top. Like that. And what we've done is we've shored up that first section. That can be straight now. And it's given this a little bit extra protection. The whole of this will need to be stuck down just to make sure that it catches all of that old book page. We don't want it to ooze out and close our pocket, but we need enough there to actually adhere the book page down, or adhere onto the book page. I think we might get tweezers for this one. Right. So that's going in there. That's going in there, like so. Double check with your ruler that you haven't actually stuck it down there. Okay, so now I've got a pocket there and I've got a pocket down here. So my little pocket, and again, I've got strips of manila folder that I've cut into varying widths. That's that one. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's have a look. 2, 3, 4. And what we're going to use is I reckon that is a bit too small. Okay. I want one of these at about 2 inches. So I'm going to get my trimmer out because it's quicker. And it's sitting under a pile of stamps at the moment. Right. I'm just going to sit that in and I'm going to go to 2 inches. Right. So now I know, look at that, that'll fit in there beautifully. And I want it finished, there it is, looking for the pencil, about there. Okay, cut that one off as well, just on the pencil line to make a tag. And then I want one for down in this one. So I've slid that one down here. And I want him to finish just under that where I've got 68 Market Street. Right. So they're my two little ones for my front. I'm pulling out my old ones. I found a whole heap of my old punches. So I'm just working on them to see if they work. I had so many different corner rounders. So this one's quite a small corner, but it still works. All right, same with that one. Now I'm going to round the corners on these ones just to give them a little bit of difference. And what I also want to do, using the brushed corduroy again, but this time I'm giving it a darker, as in a more of a distressed look all the way around. So you can see the two different ways that I've inked them up. I've got that one. So this is more of a smudgy type effort. Okay. And very quickly we can decorate this thing up and add our tags. And it comes up a treat. So I've got that one and I've got that one. what I want to do is put a background on them to start with. And as I said, I've got a pile of... All right, so here's the Miller and French one I was looking for the other day that I couldn't reach. So what I want to do is use this as an all-over background on this. So the easiest way to do that is to move all my bits and pieces that I've got sitting here. So I've got my stamping foam and I've just got a piece of scrap on there. I'm just going to sit this here. So my first one, I'm thinking I might go there so that it finishes on that. And I'm using Tree Branch, which is a very light coloured ink, just a brown, it's permanent ink actually. Makes no difference whether they're permanent or whatever for when you're stamping something like this, but it's just the colour that I'm after. Move some of those scrap bits that I've got sitting there. And I want to take it to the top and just in there. And then I'm going to join it. So just slightly, so that I've got this going on. So now what I want to do is do it again. And I'm going to do it down like that, okay? So I've created a background in that. Just ink that. So this is from the Miller and French stamp set, as I said, that I wanted to use the other day, but I couldn't reach, couldn't get to, so now it's sitting on my desk where it's meant to be. That the whole stamp set came out from Which Craft Do You Do, and is available in their website. You'll find in the description box below, you'll find a link to their website for their digital papers, because I'm on their design team, and you will, but if you go into that link, it'll take you onto their digital papers, but you're still in the website. So then just flick back into all their other bits or into stamps if you go into the menu, and then you can find them in there. They are just beautiful. Right, so this one's also from the Miller and French stamp set, and I'm just going to do the same thing with this one. I like creating my own backgrounds with stamps because I can create depending on the colour that I want. I can take a light one, I can make them even lighter if I shadow stamp or whatever else. So depends on how much I ink them up, whether I stamp them and then re-stamp them without inking, which will give me that very light effect. But now I've got another little background. Putting these back over here as I go. Right. So that's those ones. I want something on them, something nice and quick and easy. So I've just pulled out some clear flower stickers. I find these are great for that. I'm just going to put the lid on that because I don't need any more glue. Gluing is done. So if we just want something fairly tall on that one and something a little bit smaller on that one, let's have a look. Quite like all these yellows and bits. That one's quite nice. And that one would work on there, wouldn't it? Tie the two in together. They're a bit more yellowied. Yellowied? How's that for a word? That's the same one. That's why I liked it. It's the same one. Thinking. I could go yellow, more yellow than... No, let's just stick. Don't you hate it when you second guess yourself? I actually like that one on there better. Right, now these are just the clear stickers. I tend to, again, use my blade. And I'll just sit there, hold it at the smallest end, and just flick with my blade until they come up. Nice and easy. And just stick him down. Trim off your excess. I've got no more excess anywhere else. And then I use my bone scorer, folder, whatever school you went to whatever you call it, and just rub down like they would be for rub-ons. And what it does is it just pushes it right in to the paper, and you don't get so much of that edged line. Okay, so there's that one. I'll do the same with this one. Without tearing them. Right. Can just go on there anywhere. You can put lots more on these. It's up to you. We're just going to very quickly do these up so that it's decorated. I think, what's the time? 41 minutes. We might not. Right, back to where we had it, down here. So this is our front cover. This one's going to go in here now that my glue's dried. This one's going to go in there like that. This is my bow. And then what I'll do is I'll show you, since we're starting to run short on time, very quickly how to create the others. So I tend to do my bows upside down because I do rabbit ears, and that way I will always get my tails down the bottom. Okay, and then I can fix it up from there to how I want it, to how I want to trim those. But that's how it looks at the front. Yummy, very quick, very easy. But what we can do, I'll move these in because we're running out of time. Oh. Right, put you in there, you in there, you in there, close you. That one and that one away. All right, so here's the one I did earlier in the week, or last week, or whenever it was that I was first working on this. Same concept, different coloured ribbon, whatever else. I've done a shorter tag with this one and tucked it further in. This one's a higher tag. So, you know, they can be whichever way you want. If I undo this, I'll just show you how I've used the rest of my manila folder. You can decorate all in here as well if you like. And you'll notice I've still got my lovely newspapers as well. If you, after those newspapers, if you want, also in the description down below, there'll be a link to my Ko-fi shop, and I have packs of those newspapers in there. So what I've got in here, all these extra pockets. So I've got this one, again stamped as a background, and then with our stickers. So that goes in our front section. And then you've got all this journaling space for whatever's gone on the day or whatever else in there. And then these ones I have literally just stamped, and I've given them a tab. They are so easy to give a tab to. We'll very quickly show you how to do a tab without any dies or any other thing. So same on the other side. Okay, now with the tabs I've stamped both sides because they're visible on all sides. So, okay, very quickly I'll show you how to do the tabs. So here's my manila folder. I want 2 of these, and I want these ones to be, we're going to undo this one again. So I need these ones to be, let's have a look. So my manila folder is still attached. So here's this way to do this. First slide that in there. So these I think are about 2 3/4 inches. Yep, 2 3/4 inches wide. slide that in there. Okay, so that it's all the way down. Technically, other way around. That way, so that the fold's that way. Slide it in. So that it goes all the way. You can feel when it gets to the end. Won't go any further. This is my marking for where this finishes. So I've just put a little pencil mark, okay? And what I'm going to do is just draw a line, follow a line, sit this on my grid so that it's nice and straight. Take my line with my pencil and just very finely go across there. That's where it finishes. So I want a tab that's just a little bit larger. So I might go just below this line, this is about 1 centimetre, I suppose, because my grids all strangely come in centimetres. Could be because I'm in Australia and we work in centimetres. I tend to work in inches. That's about a good size tab, okay? So I'm going to chop that off at that side, at that length. And I'm just going to go straight across. Okay? Like that. I said this was 2 3/4. We want a half of that. So we want 1 and what? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 3/8 is a half of it. Okay? So what we're going to do, that's going to actually run down that line nicely, isn't it? There you go. That's my halfway mark. I'm going to put this in there. Get my knife again. Go to that halfway mark. Like so. And the same down there. Scissors, blade, whatever. And what I've now got are 2. But if I turn them that way, cut out, rub out your pencil line. And I want to round my corners so that they look like a tab. So I'm going to put that one in there. Now, unless you've got the money for a crocodile, you know, the corner chomper one, you're not going to get in there. So what we're going to do with that, and take the little bit that we had left on there, chomp him in there, which gives me exactly the same size as what I've got now. I can sit him on there like that so that he's nice and even, and I can just trace around there with my scissors. Okay, same with the other side. I want to go, yeah, that way. One side's easier than the other side for me. All right, same with that one. And now what I've got are my 2 tabs. So again, I would ink around these, both sides, to create my journaling posse on the other side. So I'm just going to ink around one side at the moment. Let's have a look, see which way I've gone. Yes, I've gone the correct way. But just so that you can see what I mean. Now, I then stamped an all-over stamp as a background on this, again in the light coloured tree branch. And what we're going to do now, let's pop that one in there like that. Look how well that fits in there. If you find that it doesn't fit, just chop some off your bottom end. And then we're going to pop that one in that side, so that it's round the other way. And then you've got your 2 tabs. Okay, and then what I did for these ones was the same as we did for the front, and just made our little rounded ones. Okay, but in that wider width, so the 2 3/4, so that they tucked into this second pocket here. How easy is that? How awesomely simple, how cute does it look, and how, what's the word I'm looking for? What an impact it makes. There you go, that's the word I'm looking for. So what an impact it makes for one page of an atlas and a piece of manila and some manila folder. That's it, little bit of stamps. Okay, hope you liked that one. Hope that one was a little bit different for you as well. Back into my comfort zone of book pages, manila folders, stamps. Oh, my happy place. Thank you all for watching. If you've stuck through to the end, thank you, thank you, thank you. Much appreciated. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye.